Hello and welcome to Zerocarbonista, Series 6, The Cow in the Room. I'm Ian Collins and this is your number one go-to environment-based podcast. If it's green, it's in. I was about to say, Dale, because you have busy weeks and busy days, but you've had the mother of all busy weeks, right? Probably too much to talk about, but we should mention Liverpool.
Yeah, I want to. My instinct there would say I've had the motherfucker of all busy weeks, but I shouldn't say that. This is a family show, right?
That's very true, yes. People
Liverpool
sit around on Christmas Day listening to this.
That's right. They play it to their children, is what I heard. Anyway, Liverpool, yes. Liverpool was fantastic. That was last weekend. There were 3 gigs, Idols, Massive Attack, and Nile Rodgers, an amazing dude. I got to meet him. Oh, my word. He's written so many famous songs. You'll know loads of songs that he wrote, like Madonna's Like a Virgin. I think he wrote the whole album, actually. He's written songs for David Bowie, like Let's Dance, for example.
That's right.
He's, for like Daft Punk. I don't even know what they
So what was he doing larking around down Liverpool way?
He was coming to the end of a tour. That was his last gig. And he's a lovely man. He's got a foundation, the We Are Family Foundation. That's another one of his hits. And we were talking about stuff he does, stuff we does, and how it kind of overlaps. So I think we'll be doing some stuff together. I certainly hope so. Really
Fantastic.
liked it.
But it was good. It was a great crowd in Liverpool, and it was. The questions from the audience were as ever superb. And
I forgot to mention us, didn't I? I'm listing all the bands that
I was going to say you mentioned everybody apart from us. Yeah, I slowly shoehorned us back. I mean, I love Rogers, but frankly, B-list compared to what we were doing.
Yeah, and we had a great time. You're right. The audience questions were fantastic. They made the episode of the podcast, and I always love the Q&A with audiences because we get to talk about the most important things, the things people do or don't understand, want to know more about, or want to challenge me about. I mean, I just love that stuff. That went really well.
Spot on.
The UN were involved as well, but we won't talk about them. They're not as important as us and Nile Rodgers, right?
Not anywhere near, frankly, when it comes to global organizations.
Yes. Who are they?
Well, let's talk about the UN because here's the headline: Fury as the United States argue against climate obligations at top UN court.
Yeah.
So is this got to do with Trump? What's happening here?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? And it might be the Trump effect already. But this one's got to have the award. We don't actually have such an award, but it should have an award for being the most confusing story, at least of the week. It took me halfway through the article to understand WTF it was about, because it sounds like in the headline that the US are arguing against the current climate obligations, the Paris Accord and all that kind of stuff. And the by headline doesn't help you with that. And half the article doesn't help you with that. It even says the US is saying the agreements that we've got, like Paris and the other stuff, they're all good enough and we should keep them. And you're going well, where's the problem here, Gov?
Yeah, where's the problem here, Gov?
Yeah, and then eventually somebody says it like it is. That what the US are arguing for is no change to what we have because they don't want the introduction of the concept of reparations, that historical polluters, of which the US is the biggest, should have to pay to the global south for the impact, the harm, the damage of the climate crisis. They don't want that. So they're saying, no, we like what we've got. Let's not add something else. Funny thing, I kind of agree with them. I think there should be reparations, absolutely. But I think until we've got on top of net zero, and it is it's going to be a big cost globally to do that. We're not on top of it. We're heading for 3 degrees climate crisis. We're heading for 3 degrees global temperature increase. Why make it harder for ourselves?
So come back to that in a few years.
We should come back to it. We should
just concentrate. One, as my old nan would say, one job at a time.
That's a lot of common sense, your old nan.
She knew how to speak sense.
We need an avatar of your old nan, right? Created with AI, and we need to send her to the freaking UN and say, look, listen to this lady.
When we start doing hologram versions of the podcast.
Hologram, did you say?
Hologram version. There you go. You see, you're in the wrong job, though. Hologram versions. Then she will appear with a little brooch on her coat, because her generation did shit like that, tea cozy hat, and her walking stick, putting the world to rights.
Yes, that's a great image.
It's not a bad image. And she would always say, they're all f***ers if things went wrong.
Lovely.
So the wisdom of Plato, that one. Here's one. Bendy solar panels to meet energy demand of 20 nuclear reactors. I mean, What's the deal here? Bendy solar panel. What are they made out of? Play-Doh.
I mean, it's a good question, and I've got to say this has got to be number 2 in the rankings for like the story that's not very clear, because bendy solar panels have been around for a long time. This one talks about a new material. I can't even say it. It's perovskite or something like that. And in Japan, they're saying it could supercharge the renewable energy transition because they've got the
Yeah,
bendy solar panel, but they don't say how much more efficient it is than the ones we've got already, if
got
indeed
it.
they are more efficient, because it doesn't even say that. It doesn't say if it's cheaper. They just say if we build enough of them, we could make the output of 20 nuclear reactors equivalent. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's true of everything, but they don't say how much that would require, why it's better with these new bendy ones. I mean, it's just like,
Are you familiar with the Bendy panel?
well, yeah, they're around. They've been around for ages. And this new one may be better than your average bendy one, which is usually not as good as your average not bendy one, rigid one. The rigid ones give you the most power, and the bendy
Right.
give you quite a bit less, but they're more flexible, I want to say. And I don't mean to pun, but you can put them onto different surfaces. So this is a story that tells us nothing except there's a new kind of
Don't you love it? Apart from we've all familiarized ourselves with the existence of bendy solar panels.
That's right. Yeah, they exist and they're new all at the same
So,
time. It's
I mean,
like
this
some
is an
kind of
obvious.
paradox.
We've kind of answered the question here, but a bendy panel is really there to accommodate surfaces that require something more flexible.
That's right. Something a surface is not flat or straight.
Yes,
Yes.
that has a
Yes.
bend in it, hence the existence of the bendy panel, which
Yeah.
does exist, but it might not be quite as effective as a rigid panel, which
Oh no,
is
they're definitely
always.
not. They never have been.
Let's do some questions. This from Connie on X. Saw you legging it around the incredible Massive Attack event in Liverpool last weekend. What was your favourite bit?
I think it was meeting Nile Rodgers actually, but I don't know if I can say that about the Massive Attack gig.
Well, as I say, you've been mates with the Massive Attack for a long time.
Yeah, I'm bored with them.
They
But
can take it.
the Massive Attack gig is fantastic actually. If
Yeah.
and a lot of people listening to this won't have seen it, but it's a barrage of videos and music and statistics all cut together into a fantastic tapestry. I'm going to say, I mean, it really moves you. I always think that music and video together are so much more powerful than
Yeah.
music and video separately added up in a simple mathematical way. But when you throw in statistics as well on top of all of that, it's just incredible. Yeah, and the music's not bad.
Here's one from Julie who says, Dale, do we need a vegan master chef sort of TV competition to inspire people to go vegan? And if so, how do we make one happen? So many people think vegan food tastes rubbish and don't know how to cook it. It's a very good point. Well, we don't need that Greg bloke anywhere
That's why
near
I'm
it.
laughing
That's for
the
sure.
fuck. That's why I'm
Yeah.
laughing. I'm thinking, oh shit, this has got to be about that. Yeah, it'd be great to have some kind of vegan-based cooking show. And I'm being pitched all of the time to support kind of this stab at it and that stab at it. And I would love to see it happen. So yeah, watch this space.
Here's a story. Elon Musk is tipped to give Reform UK $100 million to shake up British politics. What
Talking
are
of
we making of this, Dale?
I think it's not illegal, but I don't know. I think the rules are a bit grey, and I've seen people calling on Labour to like step up, change the law, stamp this kind of stuff out. Certainly, when an election is called, it becomes something that I think that's not allowed. Foreign money, you have to
I
show where
think
it
you're
comes
right.
from. But it's not an election, so I think he probably can give 100 million quid to our mate Nige, which would. It would more than shake up British politics. It would fuck up British politics, and it's already pretty up. It shouldn't be allowed, right? This man is twisted. He's an idiot. He's a super rich idiot, or he's a super rich super idiot. I don't really know. He's about to become Donald Tusk. I nearly called him Donald Musk. No, Donald Trump. He's about to become Donald Trump's right hand man.
Yeah.
And oh my God, please somebody save us from this man. But I think Labour should do more than just prevent foreign interference in our political system, aka donations. I think that they should go further and take donations out of politics completely. Don't allow them, and publicly fund elections and political parties. It would be for a pittance, especially when you compare it to the sums of money that these people deal with every day and quite often lose, fritter away, whatever it is, waste. It really wouldn't be a lot of money. At the last election, it was total spending of about 100 million, but it's every 5 years. So
Yep.
that's 20 million a year. But that's because the Tories doubled election spending limits to try and buy the election. If we went back to the old level, it's £10 million a year. What about that for super squeaky clean politics where nobody can ever say, oh, yes, but you're doing that because your mate gave you some money?
Yeah. Fair point.
Mm.
Question here from Bob, who says, Dale, I know you're investigating salmon farming, but have you ever considered turning your focus on the water companies themselves? All seafood, including seaweed, is now being harmed. Fair question.
All seafood, did you say?
That's what he said.
All seafood is being harmed. Oh, by the water companies dumping shit in it, I guess it
Yes,
means.
yeah. Including seaweed, which is crucial for the system, of course.
Well, it is. It is. I quite like seaweed on sushi as well.
It's all
So,
right, isn't it?
yeah, I don't think it comes out of the sea round here. I don't really know. But look, it's a fair point, right? But I do think that this water issue is being well covered by other people,
Mm.
hundreds of people. I mean, the campaign against water companies, the kind of volunteer water quality monitoring that's happening up and down the country. I think it's pretty well covered.
Yep.
At the moment, we're focused on animals, animal farming, the environment impact, the welfare, that kind of stuff. But it's a decent thought. Actually, I wanted to say this. I want to say this. The device we've got in R&D, if and when it's ready, and it's 98% passing testing right now, I think could make water companies redundant.
Wow. Watch this space, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can't wait. Judge rules that Oatly cannot call itself milk.
This has been around a while, and this is part of a kind of move by the animal abuse industry against the plant abuse industry. Let me just say that for equality of terminology, right? Oatly abuse oats, and other people abuse cows. And the move of the industry has been to say you can't call it vegan cheese, you can't call it vegan milk, you can't call it a vegan sausage, because all of those terms are so ingrained in our consciousness as to be linked to animal abuse products that we'll all be confused, right? You might be a happy meat eater and you want a sausage of death, and you end up with a sausage of I don't know, plants, and you're like, shit, I wanted some misery in my mouth. I think it's
the accidental vegan sausage purchase.
That's right. We have to protect them from that. And I think, oh please, sausages and burgers, they're a food form. And lentil burgers have been around forever. I mean, literally 40, 50 years ago, I was making lentil burgers, and I think we're all smart enough to see, oh, that's a lentil burger, right? Oh, that's a cow burger. Oh, that's Oatly, right? Oatly oat milk obviously doesn't come from a cow, does it? I can't.
Well, it says, the word that jumps out is oat. And if you're looking for a non-milk substitute, you look for the word oat. You don't go, oh, I found this oat milk. Oh, it's got some cow's milk in. Nobody thinks, no one's ever thought that.
Nobody's that stupid, right? The labeling is clear enough, but we've been losing this battle, and Oatly lost the battle quite a while ago in terms of being able to call themselves oat milk. And, they lost another one on appeal. They wanted to trademark the phrase post-milk generation, right? Which is, I don't see any harm in that. But that was also rejected because the term milk was deceptive, apparently. But it can't be deceptive because you're talking about post-milk, right? So we're talking about being past milk. We aren't pretending we're talking about oat milk. We're talking about milk now, cow milk. So I don't get it. But it drives me crazy. We had De Beers come at us in exactly the same way.
Clearly, the underpinning kind of motivation behind their argument isn't that they genuinely think that no lawyer for the milk people genuinely would have stood, surely, in fact, if they hadn't, I'd love to see it, stood in a court and gone, unfortunately, Mrs. Smithers, thought she was purchasing some cow milk and accidentally had the oat milk and discombobulated on the spot. So we need to get this changed because there's confusion. What they're trying to do is just have a massive pop at the non-milk versions of the product.
They want to make it harder to sell these things, harder to label them. They want labeling to be clunky, to be slightly discordant for customers. And they're only trying to slow down the change that's happening in their own commercial interests. So Dairy UK are the trade body that have brought this action. It's happening all across Europe, actually, by different trade bodies for the meat an animal trade business, whatever they're called. And we had De Beers come at us in exactly the same way.
Through the diamonds.
Yes, through a trade body for, diamond diggers. They came at us and made the claim that Skydiamond was confusing, right? All over our website, it says we make our diamonds from the sky, right? But apparently people would be confused and think that we're the people that blast 1,100 tons of rock to make a single carat of diamond like De Beers does every day of the week. And we're just infuriated by the obtuseness of the way these issues are interpreted in terms of the real impact on people. Like you said, nobody
Yeah.
goes into the supermarket and buys oat milk by mistake. Nobody does that.
And when somebody on EastEnders calls their mate, he's a diamond geezer, I don't think De Beers stepped in and said, I think you'll find that's a human being, not an actual diamond.
That is a bit misleading. We need
It's a
Ofcom.
dimensionless human figure.
We need an Ofcom ruling on that. You've just misled everybody.
Here's a great story. New eco wooden football stadium to be built. This is long in the planning, Dale. This has been rumbling away for a long time. This is Forest Green's home ground.
Yes. I was on TV talking about it yesterday, just to pick up on your first point. And they said to me, all genuinely excited. They said, you must be really excited. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not, actually, because it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pleased enough, but
a lot of years.
Why has it taken so long?
Why has it taken so long? I mean, that's one thing Keir Starmer said he wants to. I know this is about house building, but same thing applies. I mean,
it wasn't just houses. No, it was all planning.
Oh, yeah. Well, the planning world, which is just this extraordinary labyrinthine world of dodge pottery and nonsense and gibberish. And it just seems to make a lot of lawyers very rich and everybody else miserable.
Honestly, it's just incredible. I think I can't even begin to explain, but it's been a really terribly long process to build something incredible. This will be world-class architecture, first stadium to be made entirely of wood, the lowest carbon footprint sports stadium in the world ever since the Romans invented concrete. I mean, what's not to like? It's on a site where we're going to build a green technology business park, create 4,000 jobs, and according to other people's calculations, stick £150 million a year into the local economy. And we've got a district council that are broke, and they're holding this up. Make sense of that.
You can't make this shizzle up, can you? Let's move to X-Rated Corner. Our old conspiracy friend, Charlotte Gill, the journalist.
Is it?
Yeah, she wrote something about you recently, but she says here, it's not that bad. Something is going on with the Observer. It makes no sense for them to protest about being sold to a loss-making venture when they already are loss-making. There's got to be another reason why everyone is kicking off, which I think may be why they want a different buyer called Dale Vince. Yeah, I don't know whether she's making a comment on you or just stating maybe a fact.
Yeah, and it's hard to read, isn't it? You struggle at this bit. I'm just going to try and read it now, which I think maybe they want a different buyer. Or maybe that's the other reason. The other reason is they want a different buyer. Well, they've been very clear about that, Charlotte. I mean, that's not a mystery that you've just solved. They want a different buyer because they don't believe that Tortoise have enough money to keep the Observer going. They're not even confident, where they'll end up, who might own them in the future. And to these people, these journalists, the mission is super important. So I understand where they're coming from. Also, the way the sale has been going on, The Guardian have not been open about it. They entered exclusive negotiations in September. I found out 2 weeks ago. A lot of us had never heard about it until journalists started making a fuss, and it broke cover that actually this loss-making startup of 6 years age is going to be given the world's oldest newspaper and has promised to spend 25 million on it over the next 5 years. And, I think it's fair to ask questions. The Scott Trust own The Guardian and The Observer, and they're saying, well, we need to get it gone because it doesn't make a meaningful contribution to the group. But that's set on a pile of £1.3 billion, apparently. And you've got to say, well, why does it need to make a meaningful contribution? It's The Observer. It makes a contribution to journalism. Isn't that enough?
Here's one from Parasenti Cheesy Peas, who says, who's got a Tesla badge as his image, says, Dale Vince has a problem with Elon Musk because Elon is richer. Is that it? I mean, is that all you've got, Cheesy Peas?
He goes on and he says, and he's done more for the environment and achieved more in life. Yeah.
So what has Elon Musk done for the environment? I mean, is he talking about electric cars?
Hopefully he's bearing in mind rocket fuel and the enormous pollution that creates, I hope.
I think, if there was the reversal of offsetting your carbon footprint, it's almost as if Elon read the manual wrong. So he made all these electric cars and everyone, well, that's very good, electric cars, and it's put it on the map. No one's going to complain about that. He's not our cup of tea, but well done, Elon. And he's gone, oh, shit, I better redress the balance. I know, I'll build some rockets and fire them into space almost on a daily basis.
And one of them with a car stuck on the nose cone just for fun.
Yeah, put a car on a rocket.
He did. He actually did. My beef with Elon Musk is different. It's got nothing to do about money, nothing to do with the environment. It's about trustworthiness, honesty,
Yeah.
and him being just none of them things.
There it is. Belize Mark says Dale Vince factory that makes vegan devil burgers builds game lagers and meat industry products.
What?
He's not very clever. Check this out, Dale.
I can't even see that one. I can't see that one. Did you make it up?
No, that's what it says.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So the Dale Vince factory. I thought he meant there was a factory like spitting out versions of me, but he doesn't mean that. You just made that all up.
And here's one from Banjo Dog 4, which was a great
that
band. I remember John Peel having them on in session.
Oh, right. It's a real
There's
band.
Banjo Dog 4.
Might be the band.
Yeah.
It might be the band.
Who says Dale Vince's Devil's Kitchen is closely involved with NUFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, who are involved in pushing additives.
And it says but
and there's nothing else to it.
Not even a full stop.
I think he ran out of ideas, or his mum called him and said it's time for bed.
He ran out of green ink. That's what he ran out of.
I think he did.
But he's talking about the very same thing. The place where we make vegan food, except he knows the name of it, so he's pretty much smarter than Belize Mark. UNFCCC is what we call that, by the way. Ian, next time you bump into that, make it a bit
Glad you
easier.
Clarified.
and honestly, what can we say except thank you? You've given us a laugh.
That's it, Dale, for this episode.
Yeah.
It's been a blast.
It has. I've had a laugh. Thank you.
Don't forget to follow Dale on social media, twitter.com/DaleVince or x.com/DaleVince, facebook.com/DaleVince, and of course, importantly, on TikTok too.